It absolutely kills me that this pleasure hotel is called Banana Milk. I see what they did with the name there, and that is pretty hilarious. But I think this is just this boy, this poor, stupid boy. Even if it wasn't the real Aiko doing that to him, I think the fact that literally the day after his neck is healed, he literally got it slashed, he looked like a malnutritioned mummy. The fact that the very next day after being A-OK, we get thrown into this haunted pleasure hotel, and what ends up happening? He gets freaky fun time that ain't so fun from a very disgusting demon. At face value, looks like Aiko, and I can already see the down bad comments saying, I can change her. But most importantly, you see the type of disgusting, grotesque bullshit that happens. The fact that he leaves this place. This is the appetizer, mind you. This isn't even the beginning of what's actually going to screw around and he'll have to find out about. No, he leaves and he's sitting in that back car, and what's happened again? His throat is slit. This boy is going to die. There is no ifs, ands, or buts about that in my mind. He needs to run for the hills, but God, boy golly, he's sticking to the BS. Full live reaction to episode 19 of that Dark Gathering over on my Patreon, though, if you would like to see that. It's over there if you're interested. Now, this was a very good episode. Very well structured. I like the idea of one episode in and out, kind of getting this graduate, which, to be fair, the graduate was honestly a pretty cool way to get them. It wasn't the most complex thing, and it's just kind of like the idea of opening different doors in order to lead to the hidden room. But then it's obviously overcoming something trying to possess you and pretty much consume you. But it was very, very cool visually, and I think they did a great job because it's very similar to that of when our girl Aiko, when we were in the tunnels and we didn't really realize that she was gone because things just kind of looked normal. There was hints, of course, but ultimately when the cat was out of the bag that she was kind of in her own little world, it was a bit of a surprise. This time it's kind of similar, but we know right from the beginning that they are separated. And it was really nice seeing our boy kind of navigate this very creepy situation. Now, this isn't like the most scary episode. I think on a visual level, it is creepy 100% of the time, or pretty close to it. I think there was one really effective jump scare, not in the way that I was like, oh shit, and jumped out of my chair, but more so I'm looking at this scene and, he's approaching the door where the graduate is. I'm like, oh, this would be prime opportunity for a jump scare. And literally a second later, this face pops up and I'm like, you know what? Props to that one. They don't really abuse jump scares in the show. I think you can probably count on one hand how many times a jump scare has been present in 19 episodes, and I think pretty much all of them, maybe minus one. And even then, I'm pretty sure I've enjoyed all of them to some degree. I was like, they're very good, because this show, rather than just necessarily trying to make you scared and be like, oh my god, I can't deal with this, I need to look away, more so it just keeps you sizzling the whole time. Even if you're not necessarily freaked out by what you're seeing, you can always look at what's normally happening in these missions and say, actually, yeah, that is very spooky. I understand why this is a very unpleasant situation for these characters. And given the fact that we did just come off of an arc where our boy pretty much had no relevance whatsoever, it was kind of nice getting him back in the saddle, even though I was just like, boy, I told you to run long ago. And look at what's happening to you. I'm kind of imagining at some point, knowing that he does have sisters now, they have to at some point have a joke or at least a comment from one, if not both of them, being like, bro, why is your throat always covered in a bandage? Are you okay? Do you need to seek help? Is your girlfriend abusing you? What is going on? Because it ain't gonna look good from a normal point of view, right? It just is weird. But they did throw us in a pleasure hotel, and this thing obviously took the form of what would entice him the most, and that being his girlfriend. And at first, it's all sexy fun times, motorboats for days, but then it just starts melting. This was really cool, and I probably put it up there in the top 5 gross, but I can't look away moments of the show, because it starts relatively tame with just skin peeling. But by the end, man, that thing is a monster. Eyeballs are dripping on his face. Tongues are going down through. The thing looked nasty, and I love the idea of the real one coming in, and then ultimately just how we build through this, because not only did they end up getting the graduate, they set us something up for the future of this story, and something that they'll have to be quite scared of, and that is possession. So basically, if we look at this, what ended up happening very close to when he went through the door initially was that this thing that was following him saying, switch with me, looked like it took over his body, but he seemingly broke free. And based on the end of the episode with the when's your birthday, the logic lines up so we know this isn't an imposter. The fact that he would have had no idea, right? He would have been dead, maybe trapped for eternity, but most importantly, they might not know. And the idea that evil spirits could just casually be walking among humans without anyone really knowing, I think it sets up a lot of potential lore and kind of world building. Like, just thinking of like so many of the evil atrocities we see in our own world, and we think, how could a person do that? A show like Dark Gathering can now go the route of saying, well, what if it was a possessed evil spirit that just looked like a human? But most importantly, beyond just interesting lore and world building, we have the fear of not knowing. Like, it would be so easy for any three of them to not be who they actually are, and that could be a very interesting plot twist. So this is kind of what Dark Gathering does a great job at. The content that we're watching at face value is spooky, it's creepy, and it's exciting to watch, but most importantly, they're constantly building upon the foundation that has made the show so great, and why I'm already hoping we eventually see a season 2 someday. I think there was some great sound direction. I mean, I always say it, but watch this show with headphones, and man, you hear some things. It's like, it's no wonder this dude's panting and huffing and puffing. That moment, I think it was when he initially makes his first sound, and like the eyes all light up around him and shit. There's some things that this man has gone through that I'm like, if I even went through a percentage of that, I'm pretty sure I would die on the spot from just having a heart attack or a stroke, because how do you deal with this? And like, ultimately when everything started to like bubble over and just get really gross, it's just like, sometimes when you look at things in a show, like whether it's a anime that's drawn or it's a live action show, you see the shit that's happening to the characters, and visually it's already nasty as hell. But then you just think of the fact that it probably smells god-awful as well. Like, it has to be the most disgusting, visually smelling sensation of all time, and this is just the appetizer of where they go next. This is, I think I said this when they went to the cornfield to get the graduate or whatever it was, the soldier. I think I mentioned that this is, to them, at least to Yayoi, and honestly half the time to Eiko, this is just a tool run. This is just getting supplies. You're resupplying before the next match. But for a normal person, or as normal as you can be given the BS you've gone through, this is what you do when you get out of the hospital. You say, oh, you're back to full strength? Be a shame if that neck got slit again, but hey, at least you probably won't die because at least it's healed over. This man is gonna be nothing but cuts, bruises, scrapes, and broken bones. Damn, does love make him do some crazy ass things. Let me know what you thought of this week's Dark Gathering episode, and what do you want to see now that we resupplied and we're going on to the main course? Let me know down below. Leave a like if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new around here, of course ring that bell so you can get notified when I upload more videos to the channel. Like I mentioned, we have a full live reaction over on my Patreon if you're interested. And hey, while you're there, you also get a video shout out. So today we have Jan Peterson, Hyun, Miri, E, Roscoe, and Zeekster, so I appreciate the support, everyone. Please take care and have a good one.